there's breaking news. The 49ers have released legendary wide receiver Marqise Lee and signed Bennie Fowler to replace him. In the Niners' defense, they're about the same age. Bennie Fowler's actually played a little bit the last 3 years as opposed to Marqise Lee. What does this move mean to you?
I mean, yeah, real shame to let Marqise Lee go. That was, a key 49er. To me, it signals a bit about the unrest at that third wide receiver position. To me, it truly is that smoke signal that they just don't know what the solution is there. Clearly, Marqise Lee coming back from that gruesome injury, it was a stretch that he was going to make the roster. I was pulling for him. I certainly predicted that he would in our show with Jack Hammer. Clearly, Jack was on the right track saying he wouldn't make the 53. To me, it really says, hey, we missed out on Kendrick Bourne. We weren't willing to pay him what the Patriots were. And now we don't have a clear third option. I'm on board with Richie James Jr. probably getting the most snaps there, but I just don't think Bennie Fowler is a clear answer.
No, I mean, let's look at what McWorld 999 says. McWorld 999 is a known Bennie Fowler expert. Says Fowler was a UDFA in 2014, picked up by the Broncos, played for Gary Kubiak. Giants, then Saints, always getting placed on practice squad, injury replacement. Teams put him on practice squad, 12, 13 yards average catch, doesn't get a break. Okay, so I'm with you on that. They haven't addressed the number 3 receiver. This guy is not a number 3 receiver. He is a guy who's on the practice squad. Maybe you bring him up if someone has a sprained ankle. He's like what Jordan Matthews was in the past.
Yeah, it's interesting to think that you have a guy like Richie James Jr., who the fan base obviously loves for good reason. He has flashed excellence in some games when he has come in. It's hard to imagine throwing a guy like Bennie Fowler in above Richie James Jr., unless you're concerned that Richie can't hang with a full season of work because of his size going over the middle. But to me, it would be odd if Bennie Fowler was the de facto number 3 wide receiver.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't think he's even in the running for it. He's not going to be competing for it. He's a vet with they're leaving it open for Jalen Hurd. It seems very clear. If it ain't Jalen Hurd, it's Richie James. They have 2 guys, 2 young receivers who have talent. And Bennie Fowler isn't young and he's not talented. So they might like him. Maybe they know him. Maybe Gary Kubiak gave him a good recommendation. Maybe he'll be a good guy to have on your practice squad, a nice vet. Because you can have vets on the practice squad now. That's the new. Right. So I think maybe every team wants some. And he could be that. But I don't think that he's going to be getting targets next year or playing very much or actually competing to replace Kendrick Bourne. If the Niners have a plan for that, he ain't in it. And I don't know what their plan is.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the Jalen Hurd plan.
It shows me that I was off on believing what Marqise Lee could round back into form. I mean, who knows? He could be brought back onto the team at some point, certainly after week 1 when veteran contracts are no longer guaranteed for the season. You could bring him back at that point. But I truly thought he was going to compete for the number 3 and clearly was wrong there.
McWorld again, who is fantastic. Thank you. Says Fowler had shoulder surgery October 2020. Marqise Lee's had all kind of knee issues. That's a good point. My question, and I don't know the answer to it, Rob, anyone wants to help me out here. Why sign Marqise Lee first? They could have brought Bennie Fowler into the rookie mini camp and given him a tryout. They didn't. They gave Marqise Lee a tryout. They signed Marqise Lee. Less than a week later, they're like, you know what? Forget you, Marqise Lee. We like Bennie Fowler, who's been available this whole time. What is that? Did Marqise Lee does he have body odor? Is there something does he have halitosis? What happened?
Well, I hope that we don't hear a story that, he tweaked something in the meantime since the news broke that we signed him, because that would be horrific too.
That would actually make sense. There were practices that I didn't attend. Who knows what happened? Yeah,
could be, but I haven't heard anything about that. Obviously, the news just broke this morning. To me, it doesn't inspire confidence. As a 49er fan, I'd like to think that you have a clear plan headed into the season for who your third wide receiver is going to be. And it just doesn't feel like you do as an organization.
No. And it ain't Bennie Fowler. So I don't think we're going to be talking about Bennie Fowler very much ever again. So Bennie?
I bet Bennie has a game. I bet he has that Richie James breakout performance where all the fans start clamoring for him. But it really is just the one-off.
Let me ask you this before we move on from Bennie Fowler, forever perhaps. Who's going to have more catches this year, Bennie Fowler or River Craycraft?
I'll tell you what. I know that River Craycraft gets some laughs on your channel. That catch that he almost made,
it was the best almost catch I've ever seen.
Really,
I've never seen someone almost catch a ball better than that.
Like, I know he almost caught it, so that's a key detail because he didn't catch it.
No,
but it really was spectacular.
It's the most spectacular near catch I think I've ever seen.
Yep.
No one has ever not caught a ball with more style and panache than River Craycraft did that day. Shout out, River. I love you. Hey,
more style, less importance than the Des Bryant drop, but more style than that Des Bryant.
That's true. Definitely more. I'm betting on River, Benny. You gotta wake up pretty early in the morning to beat out River MF Craycraft. So let's see what you got, Benny. All right, let's move on.
Craycraft.
MF. I got a little loose there, but I kept it within P. I think that's PG.
PG for sure.
It's PG because that's my brand.